Hi everybody. It's a couple of days to go before we're all in our lockdown, and whilst it might be somewhat challenging for us this Pesach, we may have to do things a little bit differently. Our brocha is that we'll have a Chag Kasher v'Sameach, a beautiful Chag filled with a real connection, whilst it might be a little bit different. And one of the things that we have to do every Erev Chag is enhancing our experience, really, is this concept of Mechirat Chametz, the sale of our Chametz. The reason we have to do that is we know that the Torah forbids us to own any Chametz, to have this Chametz in our possession, to own it. And so therefore, the Mishnah tells us that we can sell our Chametz to a non-Jew. But when the Mishnah mentions that, that is really an irrevocable sale. That's a sale that's there, it's done and it's dusted, and you don't get your Chametz back. But in the Middle Ages, there was a problem for the Jews, because what was happening is that because they were prohibited from being involved in certain industries, specifically in agriculture, so they turned to running taverns and things like that. And if that's the case, then they had whiskey, grain-based alcohols of other types, vodka and other types. And when it came to Pesach, if they hadn't yet sold all of that alcohol, then they would obviously lose, because no one would be prepared to pay the full amount, the full price of that alcohol, knowing that the Jews couldn't have it in their possession any longer. And so therefore there were significant monetary losses that could have been accrued. The Bach, therefore, around that time, explained that there could be a way of selling your chometz to a non-Jew with the possibility of acquiring it back. And that is our process of Mechirat Chametz that most people have accepted. It really should be sold, your chometz, only in need of great financial loss. So if you have very expensive whiskies, or you have storehouses of grain and what have you, that's when it should be sold. If you have a business, those kind of things, that's really where our Mechirat Chametz should come in. We've become accustomed just going through the process where we fill in the document and we give it over to the rabbi and it gets done for Mechirat Chametz, even for the smallest amount of chometz. And under normal circumstances, that really isn't the best way to do things, because we don't really have a mindset of, well, I'm selling my chametz in a real way. We just say, I've done my sale of chametz. Selling of chametz is a very serious thing, and this year is going to be even more serious, because whilst we normally suggest that people do not sell small little pockets of chametz here and there, because many of us have been stockpiling, concerned about availability of goods after Pesach, and in fact for the next couple of weeks before Pesach, right? What do we do with the food that we've stockpiled? So we're going to have to sell it. And our sale needs to be a proper sale. It needs to be a correct sale. And there are a number of different processes in the sale that make sure that it is done properly. What we need to understand is, number one, when we fill in those documents, we are not selling our chametz. What we're doing is we're appointing, in this case it would be Rabbi Tanzer and Rabbi Glicksberg, we're appointing them to approach the Beth Din as our agents to sell our chometz. And the Beth Din will then be our agents on behalf of everybody and sell the chometz to their specific non-Jewish person who they have assigned to buy the chometz. So our sale of chometz is not really a sale of chometz, but rather it's assignment of agency to the specific rabbis that we assign it to. The Beth Din will then collate all the names that they have received, and then go to this non-Jew and go through quite a complicated sale process. And it's not just a kinyan, like at the ketubah signing, there's a kinyan that happens, a kinyan sudar, where you just lift something up and that's it. But rather, this kinyan has to be really done properly in order that it is halachically valid. So there's a kinyan kesef that could be done, where money changes hands. There has to be a kinyan shtar as well, together with a document. There has to be a kinyan chalipin, an exchange, where the buyer exchanges hands over one of his objects, and the representative of the Beit Din will pick that up. That's a kinyan chalipin. In the case where there is maybe a kinyan chatzer, where the non-Jew may acquire the property in which the chometz sits, and thereby also acquire the chometz itself. And then there's a handshake, verbal affirmation over the fact that this kinyan has been done. And it's quite a complicated process. I remember when we were in Zimbabwe a number of years ago, we needed to sell some chametz on behalf of the caterers, and the best thing at that time spoke me through the process. It's quite a complicated process and a very technical process, and it's a very serious process, because if we own the chametz over the course of Pesach, then we cannot have any use of that, obviously during Pesach, but also after Pesach. So what we've done is, what we've put together is an online form. It's a Google document, which the link is attached to this video. And you can go online, you can fill in all your details, please do, and fill in all the details, exactly where the chametz is, the type of chametz that it is, the value of the chametz, because it's a serious thing. If you have a holiday home, please fill that in as well. You can sell the chametz in that as well. If you have a business or an office in where you work, which may have some of your chametz in, you do not have to sell anybody else's chametz. You don't have to sell the chametz that's in the fridge of the office if it's not yours. You have no, first, you can't sell it, it's not yours, but you don't have to worry about that. You can't sell anybody else's chametz either, unless you've been appointed their agent. So therefore, if you know that perhaps a parent or a child has chametz somewhere, you need to be appointed an agent by them to be their agent, to allow for the agency to be given over to, in this case, as we mentioned, Rabbi Tanzer, Rabbi Glicksberg, via the online portal. Please go on, please fill it in. Once you click submit, it will then go into our database. We will then send that onto the Beth Din to ensure that the chametz is sold before midday, Erev Pesach. And please God, we all have a Chag Kasher V'Sameach. It is a trying time, but it's a time which allows us to really come together, do what we need to do, and find much solace, much emunah, much faith in all the mitzvot that we're doing over this beautiful Chag Pesach Kasher V'Sameach.